screencast for the America topic, Opportunity and Inequality from 1920 to 1972. So this is going to be a screencast just about why there was an economic boom in the 1920s. We're going to look at what the economic boom actually means and the reasons below, and it links to the LO2 for your knowledge organizer. So economic boom then. So the economic boom means that businesses do well, unemployment is low, and there is more money in people's pockets. Now we can see this in the image here. We can see that business is doing well because they are advertising to sell things. They've got the money to spend to advertise. Unemployment is low. The people at the bottom are going to work. And more money in people's pockets. Well, if people are going to work, if businesses are selling, it just puts more money in people's pockets. So there's those three key things to remember about what an economic boom actually is. But why was there an economic boom? Well, there's 5 reasons that I showed you before at the beginning of this screencast, and the first is the First World War. So as we know from the conflict topic, France was devastated, and what America did was after the war in France, after the First World War, America started selling a lot of products to France to help them rebuild, bringing in a lot of business, hiring American workers, putting more money in people's pockets because of that. We then have Republican policies. So we can see on the left, we've got Herbert Hoover, who was one of the presidents in the 1920s. And in the 1920s, what the Republicans did, so the Republicans are a political party. So remember, there's Republicans and there's Democrats. So the Republicans were in power in the 1920s. So first of all, what they did is they cut taxes, allowing businesses to spend money on themselves to grow bigger. And we can kind of see that in the image here with the fact that the man is so big, the man who represents business is just so big. We can also see the fact that the government have a laissez-faire attitude. So a laissez-faire means leave alone. So the government leaves business alone to grow, even at the stage where it's unhealthy. And that's what this message is saying. It's saying that, yeah, it's fine to grow. This laissez-faire, this businessman is growing, but it's going to grow to the rate where it's unhealthy. And that's where it leads to the stock market crash. But at the time, we can see in the 1920s, lots and lots of money is being made. Business is thriving. There's low taxes. There's also on your knowledge organizer the Ford Income Tariff Act. So it might be worth those of you going for higher marks just have a quick look at that, just to renew your knowledge on tariffs. Another reason would be the fact that there was the creation of electricity. So in 1916, only 15% of homes had electricity, and in 1927, there was 70%. And this is really important because that meant all Americans could now have electrical goods and use them. So they were going out and buying electrical goods. And the example that I would give you, I mean, there's loads of examples on the left, just the images from the time. But the one I'd tell you to stick to is the radios, because it links throughout our topic. So in 1919, there was 60,000 radios. In 1929, there was 10 million radios. So it's a significant increase there, isn't it? Showing that lots of people are buying from these radio businesses, meaning that they have to hire more people, employment low, putting money in more people's pockets. And the next reason is that there was new ways to buy and sell. So really, really colourful billboards. Obviously this is in black and white, but you can imagine kind of the red for the Coca-Cola drink, drawing people in, making people want to buy. And we've got this buy now, pay later scheme, also known as hire purchase, allowing you to working to pay monthly rather than all at once. So 6 out of 10 cars were bought with that. So for example, if you were, working in a factory and you wanted to buy a car, but you couldn't afford it outright, you could pay it off month by month. That meant that businesses were still getting money. It meant that people still had money in their pockets for other things and they weren't going poor because of it, again contributing to this economic boom. And finally, we've got mass production. Now, mass production is where lots of goods are created very quickly. And one method of this was using the assembly line. So we can see an example of the assembly line here, where there is kind of a conveyor belt, and the person does the same job over and over again on the items. This sped up production, making goods cheaper. We are going to look at Henry Ford in the next screencast, but again, this meant businesses did well. They could sell more, they could make more money, which is really important and helped the economic boom. So there are quite a lot of reasons why there was an economic boom. I would stick to knowing off the top of your head 2 or 3. And I think that the easiest, I mean, there's a lot of easy ones there to remember, and I wouldn't give you any suggestions because really they all link through the topic. You could talk about the First World War one with regards to obviously you know about it from Conflict and Tension. Republican policies are a really key one for America in the 1920s. I would say that the electricity one is specific to the 1920s. New ways to buy and sell. Now that links to the 1950s as well, so it might be worth remembering that. And obviously mass production links to Henry Ford. So I'm not going to tell you at this moment which one to remember, but there are a lot of examples there that you can draw upon. Now, what all this means for America in the 1920s is it's called a consumer society. Now, when I looked for a cartoon to link with this, there wasn't one from the 1920s, showing that they weren't really aware that in fact they'd become a consumer society. I mean, they were one and they knew they were buying, but they didn't have that term. Now, a consumer society is where everyone in society is buying things. And obviously the image shows a woman buying something on a credit card and buying lots and lots and lots and saying more and more and more. So America became a consumer society. Every single person was buying something in America, and they were able to buy something because everyone was in employment. Everyone had more money in their pockets because of the First World War, because of Republican policies, because of electricity, because of new ways to buy and sell, and because of mass production. So everyone is thriving. And that leads to the cycle of prosperity in America, which is where, obviously, as I've just said, everyone has more money to spend. Everyone is a consumer society. Everyone is spending more money. So we can see that here, that we are here. So more money to spend. And then we follow the arrow. The fact that everyone's got that more money to spend because business is doing well, everyone's in employment, it increases demand for goods. So people want more things. That means businesses have to produce more. And if businesses are producing more, that means that unemployment obviously increases. So that is the cycle of prosperity. That's what America kind of experienced in the 1920s.